when you said a few years ago, it was like chemtrail level conspiracy theory. That's why I get a little nervous when people say, oh, the ultimate expert in. I'm sure they are.
Sure.
But you know what? Science, there's no final answer. I mean, there are,
Sure.
but it takes time, like evolution. When it first came out, people didn't just sign on. It had to go through the testing period. Okay, we're past that. And we're past that with global warming too.
I was thinking about, Tucker would argue different,
yes,
right?
okay, we're past that.
Right.
We can argue about what to do about it, but we're past the, humans aren't causing it. Yes, they are, and, maybe that's whatever, But, this idea.
Well, it's interesting. It seems like there's bipartisan support for the idea that we're contaminating water sources and food sources. I guess more closely to what you just raised, it's beyond me why artificial lighting environments might be damaging us in some way, and certain medications like antibiotics can be beneficial. Like we are living in the land, with respect to health, we do seem to be living in the land of whatever expert, certainly is not how I try and pitch things, but whatever expert is speaking to us seems to think that the things they're talking about are the only things that are important. Like, I'm not saying it's only light. I'm saying light is foundational. Circadian biology is foundational. Cortisol rhythms are foundational. Nutrients and food, not excess calories, getting enough micronutrients. But when you look online, what you find is that the people couch themselves as it's all sunlight or it's all food. And I think this is what's really damaged the MAHA movement, frankly, because I think most people across the board would say, okay, getting food additives out and reducing processed foods, surely that's a great thing. But then the vaccine debate, for instance. Actually, I have an update on the vaccine piece that I spoke to NIH director today to get you an update, because last time when I was on your show, we talked about it. And it's about these mRNA vaccines.
Oh, yeah.
Because I said, and I still think, that to cancel the research for mRNA vaccines for cancer would be utterly foolish. I think that's a 3-neuron decision.
Agreed.
Okay. So I talked to Jay, and he assured me,
Jay Bhattacharya,
director of NIH, and actually currently also director of CDC.
Let's give people some background who during COVID, and I was one of the people who took a lot of shit during COVID. I feel very vindicated, by the way. But I'm sure not nearly as much as the people who are in charge of health now. And Jay Bhattacharya was one of those people who was thrown off Twitter or wherever because, like he's a nut, because he had an alternative view of how we were handling COVID.
He was largely opposed to lockdowns at certain phases. I know this because he's my colleague at Stanford, and
he was right. We didn't treat it overarchingly. We just didn't treat it the right way, which was to protect the most vulnerable population, but let society go on, because it wasn't the bubonic plague. It killed mostly very old people and obese people. I know that's politically incorrect to say. It's just the truth. We didn't need to overreact the way we did. We didn't need to spend more money than we did on World War II.
Is that right?
Yes, it's right.
Wow.
Well, of course, we told everybody to go to your room and hide under your bed, and we'll make up your salary. Where do you think we got that money? Where we always get it, out of thin air. That's going to come home to roost, and that's going to affect your health.
Yeah, well, the mental health
is pot bad
in the
for
lockdown.
Before
we talk about vaccines,
because it makes you do this.
I have an update for you on cannabis as well.
I don't know what this is, but is it? What is it?
So the mRNA vaccine update is Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, who now is also acting director of the CDC, by the way. He's juggling both roles.
And a smart guy.
And a very smart guy, and a very and somebody who listens. I'm not formally associated with MAHA, despite what you might read out there. I'm not formally associated with any political group. I'm neither a double hater nor a double lover when it comes to politics. I am an issue by issue person.
That's me in politics.
Great. Okay. Appreciate you. Thank you.
You too.
Thank you. So he assured me that his words, that the NIH funding for mRNA vaccine research for oncology, for cancer, has not been cut. What was cut, he said, his words, it was the $500 million put towards mRNA vaccines for upper respiratory illnesses. that was set aside from Project Warp Speed, which people forget was a Trump initiative. I'm not trying to, what do the
Absolutely.
kids say, glaze or glow up or what? I'm not trying to, but we should remember that was part of the Trump administration.
Absolutely.
And I think that the mRNA vaccines, the label has caused a lot of people to say, I don't want anything to do with those. But I just had an oncologist on my podcast. The potential to eradicate cancers using technologies like those or others like CRISPR is so exciting. And the way this is going to work is not by testing on humans. It's going to be by harvesting a T cell.
Let's stop on CRISPR because I remember first seeing it on 60 Minutes. Gene splicing, right?
It's gene editing.
Gene editing.
So you can actually go in and add genes and modify genes. A Nobel Prize was given.
Why is it called CRISPR?
The CRISPR-Cas system is an enzyme system that can get and insert and cut and repair DNA at specific locations.
Okay.
So,
but yes, I've been hearing about CRISPR ever since that 60 Minutes report, but that was like 7 or 8 years ago. I feel like, hey, I'm 70 now. Where's CRISPR when I need it?
So CRISPR is being used.
I mean, I'm not saying I need it, but I'm saying I'd like it.
CRISPR has been used to successfully treat certain childhood cancers. CRISPR, now, I should say that's by taking cells, modifying their genes, and reinserting those cells, which works very well in the immune system.
But it's not a cure for cancer.
Well, it holds.
Sometimes it is.
It holds the potential to cure many forms of cancer. See, cancers are all generally.
And it's done it.
What's
sometimes, right?
It
Already?
has, sure, yeah. I mean, it's not in widespread use because there are a lot of ethical issues. I will tell you, there was a guy, he actually trained as a postdoc at the same time as I did in the United States, then went to China. He made CRISPR-modified babies. Okay, this is a well-known, yes, he announced at a meeting that he had taken some kids from IVF. The report was that the father was HIV positive. He modified the receptor for HIV in these embryos, and 2 kids were born with modified genomes. Now, here's the twist.
From what womb?
They were inserted into the guy's wife, I believe. So they took the eggs, her egg, his sperm, modified the embryos once the embryos were in a dish using CRISPR.
She carried.
So targeting a specific gene. Right? I should say when people get really worried about genetic selection, when people partner select, they're genetic selecting. Right? When they go, oh, that person's attractive or successful or kind or whatever.
But she carried it to term and they had a baby shower.
Two babies. Yeah,
no,
two babies.
I'm not asking about
Chinese baby shower.
I want to know about the shower.
Yeah, Chinese baby shower. I don't know what that looks like.
Is it different when
I imagine it is. And these babies were born. Now, here's why it's controversial. First of all, he didn't get any approval from the International Ethics Committee. There is no International Ethics Committee.
Yeah.
There was no International Ethics Committee at that time.
International Ethics.
And there is rumor that this HIV receptor may actually not just confer some susceptibility or resistance to HIV, but that it also might be involved in brain circuits involved in memory. So the story became that he used CRISPR to generate these, super babies or something like that. The Chinese government claims that he was punished. We don't know if he was punished by being put in jail or given a laboratory. We don't know. It's all very mysterious and cloaked. But when this happened, the international community paused, and it was very unclear. I was watching this very closely. It was very unclear for a few moments whether or not he would be given a Nobel Prize or whether or not he would be thrown into a cell. The world didn't know how to deal with this because he was way ahead of the curve. I guarantee that there are countries now where people are using CRISPR on embryos. I'm certain it is, has serious ethical concerns. It is not allowed in the United States, but it's coming. In fact, you can deep sequence embryos now from IVF, and you can isolate the embryos that you think have the fewest disease genes or that you think have the most genes that would confer whatever traits that you...
Don't you think we're always late on getting to some of these things? I know from a friend who had cancer that he had to go to Mexico to do the thing where they take the stem cells out and put it back in your body.
Yeah.
And it worked, by the way.
Yeah,
Why do we have to go to Mexico to do that?
Our regulatory bodies here are much stricter on certain things than anywhere else.
But I mean, if you're dying, what do you have to lose?
Yeah, well, there's this weird inverse stringency. So